The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at wrestlingwithjohners.com.
So much on interaction with the crowd, and not having that crowd there was tough, like really tough. Then learning what WWE expect, because no matter how many years you have in this job or how much you think you know in this job, it's all. But I think working there is like a different business.
Yeah,
it's a TV show, right? So we're so used to being wrestlers and performing to that live crowd, but now we get expected to TV show, focus on this camera, that camera, this, that, and the other. Shorten everything. Your time's limited. You can't drawn out things, especially when there's no fans there. You can't stall. You can't take your time. You've got to just go straight to it.
Yeah,
straight to the action. So it was a learning experience. So getting to do that was great, but like you said, it was bittersweet. I wish I had a crowd there and a pop and all the stuff we crave and are addicted to in wrestling.
But what I think it did do, Sha, is I think that not having any fans there, working to the audience at home through the camera, you're already a larger-than-life character, and I think it gave you the opportunity for your character and your personality to shine even more, and especially your friendship, on-screen friendship with Noam Dar. I think the two of you really shone, and not having any fans there doing a lot of backstage segments, I think gave you a great opportunity to show your character.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. I mean, thankfully, he's one of my best mates, so we got to just have some banter with each other, and it played off well on screen. Yeah. I will say this: what was good about the Noam Dar thing, it also pushed me to get out of my comfort zone, because
really,
because you got to think about it, I was just big heel, Sha Samuels, but when I was with him, I tried to play a different side. So I tried to play it like a bit of a Laurel Hardy situation, for a lack of a better term. I was the big goof trying to scheme things, and he was the big star. So I changed my gimmick up. They ended up giving me like a bookie gimmick, right? Which is again out of my comfort zone. Like, here's a new gimmick, something like you're a bookmaker. So no, I was his corner man in them Heritage Cups. Then I started having a phone, placing bets, and then next thing you know, I've got a new gimmick, a new persona, and it was all new. But because I was in the WWE and learning from them, I felt I could get out of my comfort zone and try these things, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. We had a question that came through, Sha, on that same subject from John Redondo, watching us live via YouTube. Sha, do you remember the vignettes that you did in NXT UK in 2022 after Noam lost the Heritage Cup with Noam Dar and Johnny Saints with the bets of the Heritage Cup? So you went from Sha Samuels, the East End butcher, to the East End bookie, and you lost all the bets. And I remember you lost the shirt off your back as well, my friend. But hilarious, absolutely hilarious skits. What are your memories of that? Because I remember seeing the skits of them all kind of lining up, ready to take your money, ready to hand in their slips, take the money off you and the shirt off your back. A lot of fun.
That was I could tell by the smile on my face. That question, I have such fond memories. Right, that was such a great time to do that whole story of me placing all these bets and Noam losing the cup and me essentially going homeless. I mean, it wasn't meant to be like that, but I played it off so well that I was like the homeless wrestler. Yeah, the hobo, and that was all done again. And I think that's why they were so fond of our partnership, because at a drop of a hat, we could change it. You need me to change, right? You want me to be a bookie? I'll be a bookie. I was the best bookie I could be. And I thought not many people could make that adjustment to go from a gimmick they're so used to playing to be like, right, now I'm a bookie. Then at a drop of the hat, be like, now you're poor. Now you be a hobo. Like, right, got it. I know what to do. I'm so familiar with my character and how it works. I know that sounds like such an artsy-fartsy thing to say, my character, but I know who Sha Samuels is.
100%.
So you want Sha Samuels to be a bookie, you want him to be homeless, you want him to be a mechanic, you want him to be the landlord at the Queen Vic. I could do it because I know what that...
make it work, yeah.
You can make it work, so I know who Sha Samuels is. So that was a strength of mine. And I'm like, the vignettes are losing the money, but nothing compares to me playing the hobo. Like, I only had 2 matches as the hobo. One aired and one didn't. And the entrance was the fun bit, because I don't know if you've ever seen The Simpsons, where there's that boxer, the boxing episode where Homer's a boxer.
Yeah.
And then there's the guy, the hobo, with the thing on his shoulder, all these possessions. Right. And he does box, he loses the boxing, picks up his possessions. I was like, I'm doing that. So I found this stick. At BT Studio. I turned a Waitrose bag inside out. I put loads of just crap in the bag. It's not even a stick, it's a duster. Look at it, it's a duster. Brilliant. Found a duster. And I'm just walking. I made this entrance begging for money. And they said exactly like that on TV. Exactly like that on TV. So it's a shame it ended soon after that. So I think I could have been the pro wrestling hobo.
It was comedy gold. It really was. But when did you find out that you were going to be part of that match, and that Chris Jericho, who is legit one of your heroes, was going to be part of it?
I found out when I was there at the building again of day 2. I was not pretty much when I was about to enter. He had a little bus backstage, obviously, to
Jericho
make sure
bus.
Top secret. Yes, exactly. We'll get into another one of his vehicles, I assume, soon. But that's kind of when I knew. When night 1 happened, that match went so well. It might still be my favorite match I've had this year with Takeshita. Wow. I was like, this is amazing. It just couldn't have gone better. And again, in terms of what it did for me, in terms of establishing me as someone in not just in the US, but PWG, against such a huge star like him, I was like, I didn't know what I was doing tomorrow. I was like, tomorrow is a bonus, because what matters is that day 1 happened, and that's all. And that's going to be my big takeaway. It was a victory. So to arrive to the venue, I knew I was going to be in a 10-man tag. I didn't know who was in it. I thought, okay, yeah, it might be a lot of people who were knocked out of the first round. Maybe there'll be someone. I was aware of the fact. I do remember that I was thinking in my head, Dynamite was in LA the following Wednesday. So right. I was like, maybe there will be someone, that Daniel Garcia's AEW champion. Maybe they'll have someone else from AEW just to pop down to be a part of either the tag or just the show. And just still didn't put in my head that it'll be the Jericho Appreciation Society. I think I finally asked someone. And I was like, who is it? It's Jericho.
Yeah.
I'm sure I laughed.
I listened to the podcast you did with Jericho, and I think he said that was one of the first indie shows he'd done for many, many years, and he kind of jumped at the chance. So, let's talk a little bit about, because of course it was obviously a surprise to the audience, to the paying public, and obviously I'm guessing your team came out first, and then was it Judas? Did Judas kind of lead them out, or I'm not entirely sure. But when each member of the Jericho Appreciation Society started coming out one by one, I'm guessing that the pops and the reaction got louder and louder and louder until, I'm guessing, the roof came off when Jericho came through the curtain.
That's precisely what happened. I wish there was footage of it. And PWG are notorious for not getting the entrances out there. Yeah. And so if there's footage of it, it's only through fan footage. But that's precisely. So the way it was set up was there was going to be a 6-man tag, I believe. I don't remember what the 3 were, but we came out in teams of 3, and I was on Team Evil Uno. I think it was me, Evil Uno, and Kevin Blackwood, I believe. And it was going to be against Jonathan Gresham, SB Kento, and Daniel Garcia, the PWG World Champion. They came out, I want to say, second. And Daniel Garcia was just like, no. He already had a sparkly jacket on. He was like, no. I don't team with wrestlers. I only team with sports entertainers. And the crowd Then Judas starts playing. And it's precisely like you said. One at a time, people keep coming out. And we're like, whoa. And the reactions are already loud. And then when Chris Jericho, I think there was definitely people that thought, wow, all of Jericho Appreciation Society, except for Chris Jericho, are going to come out, which is cool. And then he came out, and it was just insanity. That the reaction, being in the ring while that's happening and surrounding that noise, was incredible.
Yeah, another really cool experience, and I was fortunate enough to be in New Orleans 2018 WrestleMania weekend, and this incredible 6-man ladder match to crown the first ever NXT North American champion. Now, I'm going to bring up some pictures because I was so fortunate enough to be there, and this was the opening match of that night. Still to this day, one of my favorites, if not the best NXT takeover, and that's high praise considering every show was a banger and every single show kind of topped the next one. But that spot there, when you drive in, I'm not sure who threw the ladder. Ricochet's there as well. It's possibly Adam Cole. I'm not sure, but. One of my all-time favorite matches, not just because I was there, but because it was batshit crazy, and it was just fantastic. I don't think, like I say, you talk about Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon having classic ladder matches. That's 1v1, but when you got 6 guys in there, absolutely killing it. And you were part of it as well. Another great opportunity for yourself, another great moment. But take us back to that night, because I remember it vividly. But what about yourself?
It was so again, another, I'm put into these. I think they just really like putting me in multi-man matches because I had a bunch, right? I did. I had a bunch, and I always have, cool ideas and stuff like that, whatever else, which is, the joys of being from the indies. You know what I mean? Like that is the truth. I really like 3-way dances and stuff like that. Like it's one of my favorite match types, right? So I think because I always had little ideas, like I would always shine in these kind of scenarios, so they kept putting me in them. But this one was very interesting because we had to debut 2 new people, EC3 and Ricochet. This was their debut. While also you've got Monster and Lars, Monster, myself, and then you've got Velveteen, and you've got Adam. And like Adam's, this incredible talented lad who's kind of getting, the pops, but still villain. Velveteen is the fella who everybody's, everybody knows that there's something special there.
Yeah.
But he's also, not sure if you're a babyface or a heel. So there's so many things going all at the same time. So for us, we knew we had to work really hard to try and showcase everybody. But we all made a pact right before it. And this is something I'm really proud of. We said, right, we're not going to do the slow climb up the ladder, especially early in the match, because we hated it. We went and watched all the ladder matches that we could think of, separately, and even a couple together, to try and make sure that we first of all respect what people have done before. Don't want to repeat anything that people have done, but we also don't want to make the same mistakes that people have done. That slow climb that people were doing.
Yeah,
I get it. You're waiting for the spot or anything else. We were like, right, how about this? You climb the ladder, nobody's there. You just fucking win the belt, right? So that put a new pressure on everybody to be there and be ready at all times. And there's some brilliant moments where somebody actually gets fucking really far up the ladder. You know what I mean? Obviously for me, I was never going to get up there fast, so it was very easy to stop me. But for some of the other lads, it'd be a bit harder. Yeah, there you go. So
I think you nearly, is that you there? I think you nearly get your hand on the belt there.
Oh yeah, that is me. But I think if I went one more rung up the ladder, I'd have fucking fallen off the damn thing. Right? I was about as close as I was going to get. Right, I'm okay on the first 3 rungs, but seeing that 4th, 5th, 6th rung, that's when it gets problematic for me. But no, honestly, there was a lot riding on that. We knew we had a lot to live up to. We were the opener of the entirety of WrestleMania, so there was also a chip on our shoulder. We were kind of thinking, how do we say follow that without saying follow that? You know what I mean? So,
100%,
so we made the pact. We'd all do that. We'd all fucking fly up that ladder. We tried to structure it so everybody looked good, and that's tough because there's 2 completely unestablished people. So we knew Ricochet is going to get over because he can do some cool stuff. But we also need to be cognizant, you can't do everything and then no sell anything, So we're trying to get that balance. And then EC3, is more known for being this incredible mic man. So you have to try, how do we make that work? So we try and make him smarmy or have moments for him and stuff like that. So we try to put all that together, and then we're able to try and keep the fact that Lars and I were kind of on and off feuding for a few months. So we're trying to have little bits in it, even the bit where we're trying to one-up each other and stuff like that, so there's some really cool moments, and we're just so happy that we got so much of that on the board, and that people realized afterwards, understood the stories we were trying to tell coming out of it. People understood what the psychology was, and the feedback we've had since has been mind-blowing. We knew it was decent, like when we were, coming up with it, but we didn't know it was going to be as good as that. You know what I mean? Like that's the truth, but the crowd made it. Like the crowd just dug everything we did. They were there for every moment, every spot, every tiny look. I remember there's a bit where Lars and I are just throwing Ricochet around, and the crowd just comes up, and we have a stare off, and they go fucking nuts, and like stuff like that. We didn't, you don't know, you don't know for sure what they're going to react to. So then we were able to do things on the fly and go with what they're digging, and that was what was really cool about all the talent that was there. Like nobody panicked, everybody was in the moment, everybody enjoyed it. Yeah, that's a nuts photo. That was a terrible idea, but Ricochet was like, yeah, I'll take it. Okay. But yeah, honestly, all the lads, a testament to all of them. They're all bloody brilliant, all wonderful to work with. And I know it's seen as the cursed match, but realistically, it was so much fun, and nobody was difficult. We had a few, obviously, 6 different people, 6 different opinions. We have the occasional, whatever. Yeah. But the fact that we were still able to put that together, and the feedback we've got since was amazing. But yeah, great experience, great for me. Killian at that point was we knew we were about to get promoted, so we weren't sure how what we're going to do with Killian. So it was kind of stop start, what's next, because we know we're going up. So coming into that on off feud with Lars, finally we were able to look into paying that off. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, it was a very, very cool experience, cool time, and that was a great show to be on. I think it was Johnny and Andrade was the big one, wasn't it? The main event.
So I think you had Johnny Gargano and Ciampa in their first grudge match, the unsanctioned match, and I think it was Andrade and Aleister Black, of course.
Aleister Black, yes, and that was incredible. So there was so many brilliant matches on that show, and I'm so glad you said you dug it, because 100%. I think every single one of us, at that point, NXT we're starting to really find our feet. Towards the end of 2017, we kind of knew what direction we wanted to go in. Yeah. So by 18, I think that's when the creativity really started coming through for all the lads and ladies, and that was just wonderful to be a part of. And as I say, to open in WrestleMania with that, that was awesome. That was wicked, and to get the crowd at the hottest possible point was wicked. So I look back and have very fond memories, and hopefully I never have to do another one.
John is here in the Electro Ballroom, and we've just seen It's Clobbering Time from Progress, and I'm joined by Mark Haskins, or Skins, who main evented 2 shows in the ballroom today. First of all, like I say, we saw you back in the ballroom over Strong Style Weekend. You got to the final. We won't talk about that, but it must be awesome for you to be back in Camden, back in the ballroom. The King and Queen of Camden have returned. How does it feel on a personal level to be back in Progress?
It's fantastic. Yeah, I got to see a lot of old faces, people who I haven't seen in literal years. I didn't realise it had been 4 years since we were last here. Madness, time has flown by, but I'm very glad to be back, and I'm very excited to see everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And today, you main evented the Defy show against Kenta, a formidable opponent. I knew going into it was going to be a hard-hitting, high-octane match. Is he somebody that you worked with before?
No, first time. I was a huge Kenta fan when I was growing up and getting into the business. So today was a very mad experience for me, where it literally feels like 17 years on from when I used to watch his matches with Bryan Danielson. I got to tear it up with him myself. So very excited about today. It literally felt like the planets aligned for me. When I was speaking to Defy, they said that they were interested in bringing me in, but they didn't say who it was against. And then at the same time, I was speaking to an old friend of mine who I used to backyard wrestle with at his house in his garden. He was now a radio presenter for BBC Radio Oxford. He said, do you want to come on my show? We'll do a little interview. I said to Defy, hey, do you want me to announce that I'm going to be a part of the show on BBC Radio Oxford? And they said, yeah, you're going to be wrestling Kenta, so call him out. So I did, and it felt like just a beautiful experience in this business where the planets align and we made it happen.
Absolutely. A curious question. So with your match against Kenta and your match against Leon Slater, which we'll talk about in a moment, you were introduced as Skins.
Yes.
So what was the kind of the inspiration behind the slight name change there? Because we've always known you as Mark Haskins. So you've shortened it somewhat.
It's hilarious, because for years everybody behind the curtain has referred to me as Skins.
Oh, okay.
And until today, I had no idea how polar opposite the other side of the curtain has known me. You never really think about it, right? But then I was thinking about, when we're getting announced, here's Vicky Haskins, here's Mark Haskins, a lot of Haskins going on there. So I thought, why not switch it up and use my nickname and do something slightly different. So,
I think it works. I think it makes the name pop and stand out a little bit more. But we look forward to seeing kind of how that develops. And your main event in the Progress show, Leon Slater, such an extraordinary young talent that's taken the UK scene and the American scene by storm. He's recently just come back from GCW, but a phenomenal talent. I know that you started very young in the business, so you must see parallels there between yourself and Leon Slater.
Yeah, it's horrendous. I've never felt older than I do currently, especially with Nick Wayne walking around. He's such a child, right? So he's just turned 18, right?
Yeah.
I've been in the business 18 years.
Wow.
I remember being on a show years ago with Jerry Lynn where Jerry Lynn was wrestling Noam Dar, and I saw Jerry Lynn's soul break when he realized that he'd been wrestling longer than Noam had been alive, and now I'm the Jerry Lynn in that equation. Today was very bizarre for me as well because wrestling Kenta, he's obviously a little bit older than myself. So it went from him being the veteran and me being the young guy to then the complete reverse where now I'm wrestling the young kid who made it abundantly clear how old he thinks I am during the match, which I did not appreciate at all. Leon, you're a very, very naughty boy.
And it's 2-0 between yourself and Leon Slater because, of course, you had an encounter with him in the first round of Strong Style this year.
It's over whenever he wants it to be over. Yeah. I'm 2-0 up. You know what I'm saying? So I've got nothing to prove.
One more, maybe. Yeah.
Oh well, he can have as many as he wants. Some people just love, bouncing their head off of a brick wall.
But you must be on a high today because you faced two incredible opponents, main event in 2 shows, but 2 opponents of very contrasting styles as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I don't think you need to sound so shocked when you say that I was in the main event. Like, where else are you going to put me on the show?
That wasn't the main part of my question.
Well, of course, if it's not the main event spot, then why am I here?
Absolutely. And the styles dynamic. I mean, Kenta, hard-hitting, striking. Leon Slater, you've really got to have eyes in the back of your head to kind of know where he's going.
He's freakishly athletic as well. Did you see the air he got on so many moves? I was almost half distracted as he was doing things. I was like, wow, that's so... Oh, no, we're getting kicked in the face. Do you know, he's got a hell of a leap on him. I'm very jealous.
So, looking forward, it looks like we're going to see you back in the Progress ring more frequently, and I certainly hope so. I think the Progress fans certainly hope so, and do you certainly hope so?
Well, I would love to. I don't know why it is that I've been left away for so long. It's not been my choice. So, Progress, I stepped up today. I don't feel like I have anything to prove. It's on Progress's terms now. If they want to have me back here, just give me a call.
Final question then. Obviously, a lot have changed in the last 4 years with Progress. A lot of new faces. A lot of people that have come onto the scene just in the last few years that are doing awesome things in Progress. Anybody you might have your eye on that you think would be an awesome match for yourself to go against?
I don't care about awesome matches, and I don't care who wants to step up and wrestle me. Progress has changed, a lot has changed, but I have also changed as well. I'm not an insecure young guy anymore whose heart is breaking. I'm an old grizzled man apparently. I've got a lot of years under my belt, and I am more than delighted for anybody who wants to try and step up and prove a point against me to just come at me, because I will knock them all down.
There we go. Mark Haskins, Skins, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I don't know. We want to talk about all these. The Lana Austin experience. LA Taylor, Sky Smithson. We'll talk about Rob in a minute, but a tremendous faction. Love all 3 of you guys. I was working at a show with LA the other day, and she's sorry she can't join you tonight. She was going to dial in, but she's otherwise busy. But we did have a question come through from Ashley Clements before we went live. Whose idea was the Lana Austin experience, and who selected the members of the group? So tell us about it, because I love the Lana Austin experience because each individual member offers something different. Obviously, you got the big kind of warrior in LA Taylor. You've got kind of like the hitman with Sky Smithson, yourself as the leader. So how did it all come together, and how did you select the individual members?
So the idea for the group was actually Progress. They had an idea of putting me being the character that I am, but having two people with me as well. So it was their idea for the group, but then I was allowed to put names forward of people, you know, who I really wanted to be in the group. So I put a few names forward, and then, you know, I'd met LA at a few shows, and I wanted somebody in my group who people are going to be scared of, you know, because I'm scary as well, and I can beat people up. But then if I've got LA on one side as well, who, you know, who looks like an Amazon like warrior, yeah. She's amazing. She's got this great look. I was like, yeah, definitely want her. And then Sky as well. Sky's got the muscles, you know. So I was like, I wanted two badass women with me. So I put them two names forward, and they said yes to them too, and I was very grateful. So what started out of a group of me being the annoying little, you know, telling them what to do and being bossy and whatnot, and them being Lana's bitches, it actually became a group. We became friends. We became real life friends. So then I think that kind of came across on the shows as well, of like, you know, I always feel like everybody has that one annoying friend that they all hate, and they all like, you know, she's annoying, they're irritating, but you still love them. So I feel like I'm that one of the group, and that's fine. I know I'm irritating, you know, but they love me for it, so it's fine.
Absolutely. And I did mention Rob, and he is the fourth member. And
part of it. We don't know if he's a member.
Oh, is he not?
We don't know yet. We don't know.
Because
I want him to be part of the group, you know, because I love him. I want him to be a part of it, and in my eyes, he's part of it. But, well, you know, it's not like I'm the boss of the group anymore. It's like we have to vote, you know.
Okay. You've enlightened me there, and I do know it was maybe a year, 13 months ago. I had Rob on the show, Rob Drake on the show, and you made a cameo appearance, didn't you, Lana? And let's just revisit that from almost a year ago, from just over a year ago. Here we go. I asked him if he'd ever consider being a fourth member of the Lana Austin Experience. What do you reckon?
Definitely.
That'd
be so cool.
That would be cool. There you go. So it's not confirmed. He's not officially part of the Lana Austin Experience, but I may have preempted it over a year ago. So I'm not taking any credit for it.
All dressed up now from then as well.
But okay, the Lana Austin Experience doing some great things. We did.
I would tell him to come and come and say hi, but he's playing Call of Duty with his high school mates. So
that's right.
I can't get him away from the PlayStation at the minute.
That's right. Priorities.
And Michinoku Pro is the exact inspiration for Chikara. So here are the people who inspired me at every stage of my career. To be able to provide a stage and a platform to celebrate them and elevate them made me feel like this is what I am meant to be doing. Whatever it is that I'm able to create or exert or express through Chikara, this is perhaps most important. And there was that same year, the Michinoku guys were there. Manami Toyota was there. I had reached out, and this sounds easier than it is. So I'm going to step back and I'll give you a little backstory on this story. I had wanted to reach out to Sean Waltman because in the 1990s, the 1-2-3 Kid really gave permission for lightweight wrestlers to find success in the United States. Prior to the 1-2-3 Kid, unless you were basically Dynamite Kid or Tiger Mask, the idea that an American promoter had a spot on a show for someone that looked like that, not so much. But the 1-2-3 Kid changes all of that in May of 1993. And I owe a debt of gratitude to him. My old running mate, Reckless Youth, does, and so do hundreds, if not thousands, of guys wrestling to this day owe a debt to Sean Waltman for that. And so I started to put feelers out through my network because, you know, sometimes when people tell stories, for example, I love to watch music documentaries, and somebody will be like, so we called up Michael Jackson. What? No, you didn't. No one has his phone number. You don't just call up Sean Waltman. That's not how it works. So here's what you do. You reach out to someone and you're like, do you think you know how I could get in touch with Sean Waltman? And they're like, I know a guy who knows a guy who could get you there. So it takes weeks of this. You're playing this game, right? Like I'm getting one closer. I'm getting one closer. Finally, I've got his phone number and I get him on the phone. And I know he doesn't know who I am. We'd maybe met 2 or 3 times in 2 or 3 of the 10,000 wrestling cards he's appeared on, right? He does not remember me. But I said to him, very sincerely, you've had a profound impact on my career as a professional wrestler. And I have a very special event that we put on just once a year called King of Trios. For us, it is our WrestleMania. And if there's any chance that you'd be willing to do this, I would love the opportunity to present the 1, 2, 3 Kid there. And I know you've been X-Pac and Six, and you've wrestled just under, his own name, Sean Waltman, now for years and years. And maybe revisiting that character is not something that you're open to. But to me, and to so many others, you are the reason we are able to do this, to enjoy this art form, why it plays the fulfilling role in our life that it does. And if for the sake of one weekend, you'd be willing to reprise that character, we'd be really proud to have you with us. And he said, I'll do it. So sure enough, the weekend comes and Sean Waltman shows up and he's got brand new 1, 2, 3 Kid gear.
Brilliant.
But at the time, he had this very scraggly beard, like a really long, almost like a mountain man beard. And I thought, oh, geez, I had not considered this, because with the scraggly beard, that's X-Pac, that's Six, and it's not the 1, 2, 3 Kid. But I think he fully understood this. So this was taking place at the ECW arena in a locker room where, for whatever reason, they were doing some kind of construction at the time. There was a sink and a mirror that was just in the middle of a room with nothing else. So everyone is sat in there with their suitcases, right? The bags are open. People are putting on their boots, putting on their deodorant, getting ready to go out to the ring. And at this mirror, he just turns on the water, lathers up his beard with a little shaving cream, and begins to shave it off in front of everybody. And when he was done, he took a towel to his face and turned around, and he was the 1, 2, 3 Kid again.
There you go.
And that weekend, he goes out there and just crushes it. He's electrifying. It's as if he jumped into a time machine and became 15 years younger. And in particular, the match that he has is a singles match with El Generico on that weekend's finale of King of Trios. Behind the curtain, all of us, every member of the Chikara family and all of our guests were there watching it happen. And we're overcome with emotion as he re-embodies the 1, 2, 3 Kid. When the match is over, he stumbles back through the curtain and he's sobbing. And seeing that, we all start sobbing. Why? I don't know. I don't know what that human thing is. You see somebody else crying and you start crying. We just all started sobbing. And I'll show you this in a second. We had this massive group hug. It was, in many ways, it might be the fondest recollection I have of so many fond recollections of Chikara. And I said, hey, man, do you want to sit down or something? He's like, I need to be by myself for a minute to process everything that's just happened to me. So I gave him a couple minutes, and he'd isolated himself in a room where he could lock the door. And I wanted to wait a good amount of time, let people cool down, especially when you get the adrenaline going and the blood's pumping, right? That's not the time to sit down with somebody. Let's have a chat. So I waited a few minutes for this all to kind of calm down. By the time I went over, he had left. He'd packed his bag and had left the building entirely. But he'd pinned something to the door, which I actually have right here.
Oh, wow.
Because I keep it on my desk to this day. It says, I will never forget this weekend as long as I live. You all are the future of wrestling. It's been my honor to be here. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. Sean Waltman, the 1, 2, 3 Kid.
That's incredible. Look at that, ladies and gents. That is absolutely incredible.
This sits right next to me on my desk to this day. The significance of this hasn't dulled for even one moment to me.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get on to recent events and let's talk about this. And there you are. Well, I'm just going to get rid of Richie's question. Thank you, Richie. As the All Wales champion, being defended on occasions in Pro Wrestling Chaos, which is where you won it a couple of months back against Danny Luna. But that bout has a history, a lineage through Dragon Gate Pro, and synonymous with people like Mike Hitchman, Wild Boar, and individuals like that. But you were there during the Dragon Pro days, weren't you, when it was being defended through 2018 and 2019? Was that a championship that you always had your eye on?
It was the first one, because Dragon Pro really was my first place where independent wrestling and a certain form of wrestling was kind of open to me. So Dragon Pro really was the place, or that belt to me was, okay, well, if I can get my hands on this, then I know that I'm starting to get to where I want to get to. It was very much the first prize in wrestling I wanted to try and achieve. And I thought it was gone. I thought that the chance of being able to get that was just gone when everything went away. So it was amazing, really, when it just came back around. Because everybody always says in wrestling, everything comes back around. Don't worry about it now; it'll come back around. And most of the time, you're like, okay, maybe I'll believe it, but this one I just didn't think was going to come back around, man. But here we are. And
it did. And I think it was September. Danny Luna at a Pro Wrestling Chaos show, and you finally got it. You won it. It's a beautiful championship, first of all. Really, really beautiful bout. Let's say a lot of prestige behind it. What did it mean to you as a competitor, as a performer, to become the All Wales champion? And like I say, it does carry a lot of prestige behind it, and you are now its holder. What did it mean to you when you got that 3 count?
All of the best Welsh wrestlers have held this belt, like all of the best ones. So it was just a case of, okay, I'm up there now, because it's only been passed forward to, I guess I just said it, but passed forward to the best. And that was a real big, okay, I know what people are seeing me as now. This is what I've been feeling in myself for a while. And now more and more people are seeing it. So it was quite a big moment for me personally. Like I said, it was the first belt that I wanted to really go for. And after the year that Brendan had with that belt, bringing it up to the next level and really showing off, what a Welsh wrestler really can do, especially with the year that he had. And then Danny Luna taking it. And then with the year that she's had, taking it off of her, is the ball's rolling now with Brendan, with Danny, and now we're going to see where this goes.
Yeah. Yes. I want to talk about some success stories from JPWA. And you mentioned NXT, and there's 2 individuals that are performing on NXT on a weekly basis. And in fact, I stand corrected, because one of them is actually on the main roster now, and that's Ivy Nile, doing some great things. And I think she had a great match this past Monday, and I think she set herself up for a championship match down the line. And of course, you got Stax Lorenzo, Channing Lorenzo, and but I mean, they're just 2 of many success stories that you've had recently, certainly with JPWA in the last 4 or 5 years. But I mean, tell us about those 2 individuals in particular, because they're doing some great things. And I think Channing is also the current NXT, or one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions. So they're both doing some wonderful work, thanks in part to the training and the knowledge you gave them.
Well, Stax came to us. I think he was in the 2nd class of JPWA, and
really,
he wanted to make sure. He had done a Totino's commercial for. He sent in a video for a Totino's commercial, Totino's Pizza commercial that they were advertising at the time, and he was the mother lover Jake Tucker. He was living in his mom's front yard in a camper outside, and
that's a great name, by the way.
Yeah, the mother lover Jake Tucker. Yeah, so and he was very entertaining. He would cut these promos. He and his partner in JPWA, Cam Houston, they would cut these vignettes and do these entertaining promos, and it got him noticed. And he was determined. He came in out of shape. I don't want to say out of shape, but he wasn't in great shape. He wasn't in the shape he's in now, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But when he came to us, he made it evident, made it clear to me that he wanted to go to WWE. That was his goal. And I believe there's 3 kinds of people in the world: those who try, those that give it their best shot, and those who do whatever it takes. And he did whatever it took to get him noticed, to get him there, and to train with some people in Florida. He trained with Natty Neidhart and TJ Wilson. They don't have a school, but they have a ring in their out by their house, and they train certain people. And he got in with that clique, and he got noticed, and he never let up. Now he's on NXT, one half of the tag team champions, and I don't think it's going to be before long when he gets on the main roster. He's doing a great job. Ivy Nile this past week, she came out with Maxine Dupree, and she made the challenge to Rhea Ripley. So I mean, and she's doing tremendous. She came to us. I think she was in the same class as Jake. So it can be done. I truly believe if you will it, so it will be done, man. If you want something bad enough, you'll work for it and get it.
Give us a bit of insight into your journey with United and Scotty Rourke in particular, because I think your feud with his has to go down as possibly the greatest feud in United wrestling history, and maybe yours as well.
Oh, definitely mine. Like,
yeah,
this story, this feud, this everything about it. I'm just so emotional each time I think about it, and I could talk about it for 3 hours. So don't get me started.
Talk for it for as long as you want, for as long as you need to.
No, seriously, like just the first match, I was very actually, you know what, like before the first match, I was meant to wrestle against Aluna Blue for a 4th count anywhere, so it was already meant to be a big match for me that night. But Aluna apparently got injured the day before, and so the promoter told me, look, Aluna is not available, but we have a replacement, and it's going to be Scotty Rourke. And I was like, what? Okay. You sure? But yeah.
Did you know much about Scotty before that announcement was made? Was you aware of what sort of a talent he was when you were first told that by the promoter?
I knew, but yeah, I knew him. Yeah.
You knew.
I knew. I met him before at TNT, actually. And yeah, I was like, oh my god, like first of all, I didn't do many intergender matches in my life, and so I was like, okay, that's gonna be a challenge. I want to do a lot of, I love intergender matches, and I am asking for it, but I didn't imagine it coming so soon, like that, like on the spot. So I was very stressed, but very like super excited. I remember being at WrestleForce the day of the where when the promoter told me that, and I was telling everyone, you know what, I'm gonna wrestle Scotty Rourke tomorrow. Can you believe that? Can you believe? And I was super excited. Anyway, the match happened, and I remember coming backstage and being like, oh my god, what just happened? It was insane. It was magical. It was, wow, maybe the best match of my whole career. And everyone was like, wow, that was amazing. That was the match of the night. Already the match of the year, that's for sure. And all the people on social media, I was there. I saw that. So proud of having been that they could say that they've been there. And I couldn't believe what was happening. And I was like, I just want more of it. I just want to like wrestle him again, because I've learned so much that night. And like we sort of met backstage, obviously before the match, and we were like, mate, we are like the same. Like we are looking like each other. Like what the fuck is happening? We could do a tag. And I mean, we are now. I mean, 8 months later or something like that.
Yeah,
we decided to.
I've got to say the chemistry between you two as well, and certainly in the first, second, third match, and you probably felt this from the very first match, but the chemistry between you two is just off the charts. And you both like to strike hard and hit hard and give punishment and you love to take the punishment from one another as well. And that's obviously something that you must have realized very early on, and especially as the series of matches progressed. But the chemistry between you two was just off the charts.
Yeah. I mean, we realized it at the first match. We came backstage and it was like, that was something. And yeah, like it just grew because of course the year has I mean, we just sort of met for the first match, and then the second match happened and we were like, wow. We came backstage and people were like, wow, like you did even better. How was that possible? And I remember crying after that second match. I was so scared as well of the second match, because I was like, okay, the first one was good, but maybe it was just a fluke. I was extremely scared, and then I came backstage. I was so relieved, and I was like, wow, I won the match, but also, fuck me, like this chemistry is unique, and I've never had a chemistry like that with anyone in a wrestling match. So yeah, doing the one with the chain was very, very challenging. We I mean, I think it kind of proved the chemistry we have.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I would have never done a chain match with anyone else than Scotty, because this kind of thing, you need to trust your opponent. You literally go to hell and back with that kind of stipulation, you see. So it was really like a proof of how much I trust him and how much he trusts me as well. Like, and I hope we show that to the crowd. I think we did. That was something as well.
The other thing I want to talk about is Irish wrestling at the moment, and I think it's always been a hotbed. It's always produced incredible talents. Like I say, you can see them on a daily basis on the WWE Network, yourself as well. But if you look at people like Lyra Valkyria, who's doing some tremendous things over in the States, recently beating Becky Lynch, of all people, in the NXT Women's Championship. You've got JD doing some wonderful things on Raw now, in a main event storyline, likely to be part of a War Games match later on this month. And another picture of, I think this is the Irish School of Wrestling. So some tremendous talent there. And I know that you're heavily involved with that. You must be pretty proud with the Irish scene. Like I say, it's been hot for a while now, but it seems to be in a really, really good position.
Yeah, I mean, like Jordan Devlin or JD McDonough is one of my best friends still to this day, and just to see him go from I just see him turn himself into an absolute superstar. Same with Lyra Valkyrie. Yeah. I mean, I remember when she was out with an injury a while ago, and she thought that was going to be the end of her NXT UK career, and I said to her, I knew it was like, no, this is only the beginning. And I mean, it's the stuff of dreams what she got to do with Becky. It was incredible, and I cannot think of anyone that deserves it more. She's an absolute rocket. Like, she's incredible, and what a dream match for anyone in Ireland to see them two wrestle is a dream. And then it's the same with JD McDonough as well. It's incredible, so good to see.
Are you part of the coaching setup at the Irish School of Wrestling?
Yes. So yeah, we've had a few. It's amazing for the contender weekends. We've had people come in. Like, I think we've had people from all over the world. We had Canada, America, Belgium, Portugal, Spain, France. Like, I think there was near 200 people at our training seminar. It's been great, and we're only going to keep doing more and more. We've got some of the best coaches in Ireland. Like, one day Jordan Devlin will come back himself and probably take one too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's great to see, and there's so many young guys coming up now that it's just, the scene's packed. Maybe I need to move over.
But making your main roster debut at WrestleMania under a new character against Chris Jericho and going over. Can you still believe that actually happened?
Bit
of a surreal experience.
Yeah, man, I was such a fan of Chris. Yeah, I remember I was in the business, just got into the business when Chris debuted in WWF in probably 99, was it, or 98?
99.
And the guys I was traveling up and down the roads with, I remember we had a show that weekend, and Chris probably debuted on a Monday, I assume. And I remember watching that recorded Raw back and us being all jazzed up about it, and just thought it was so cool because we were all fans of Chris in WCW because we appreciated what he was doing, you know, because he was obviously being overlooked, and he was going out there kind of like what, I'm not comparing myself to Chris, but NXT Redemption, where no one was really paying attention to the promos, so you could kind of have that freedom to go out there and just you know, kind of tongue-in-cheek have fun, you know, and that's what Chris was doing in WCW, and he really stood out of that. I guess he was in the cruiserweight division at the time, but that really made him stand out was his personality and his promos. So, I mean, you know, getting, you know, my biggest thing is I just wanted him to respect me, and you know, I just didn't want to let him down because I looked up to him so much as a performer. But honestly, I was comfortable with the match prior. The most nerve-wracking aspect of that whole thing was remembering the dance routine for me. I remember being really stressed out about that. The whole dancing thing for me was really hard.
So no pressure about stepping out in front of 70,000 people.
No,
it's the dancing routine that you're most stressed about.
I mean, I knew once we get in the ring, I'm in there with Chris. So I mean,
I'm joking.
And it's not like it was a super difficult match. It was just, you know, it was a little schmoz match. It was like 6 minutes, but the freaking dance routine had me really shook, man. I was really like, fuck, because, you know, I've been wrestling at that time for, I don't know, 12, 14, I don't know, years. So I was comfortable in the ring, but the dancing thing was 2, 3, 4 months new to me. So imagine being in the, you know, only wrestling for 4 months and then trying to do a wrestling scene in front of 75,000 people and, you know, millions watching at home. So, I remember being really nervous about trying to remember that dance routine. But we got through it. Luckily, all the girls covered for me, and Chris and I had a good one that night. It was fun.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about your journey towards the Eve Championship then, Nina, because I think we're looking at 2018 now, and in the May, you won the wild card ladder match at Wrestle Queendom against 6 other women, and you cashed in the November, didn't you, to eventually become the Eve champion. But tell us about that journey, because I mean you'd been with Eve maybe a year or two before then, so you know you'd obviously had a fair few matches and a bit of a journey and a story towards that championship, obviously winning the ladder match as well. What are your recollections of your journey towards the title?
I think my plan of when to cash in I had very, very early on. And I told Dan that, and I communicated with him. I said, this is when I want to do it. I want to do it on the She Won weekend. And so initially there was a briefcase, but I think literally my first show back after Queendom where I had the briefcase, Casey Owens broke it. Wasn't the plan, but just happened in the moment, and the briefcase was broken.
There's the briefcase there.
But it was actually a blessing in disguise, because I remember the reason why Edge's cash in as the first Money in the Bank was such a big deal was because people have basically forgotten that he had it. And it wasn't, you know, that tried and tested thing that it is now, where everyone knows and everyone expects them to become a champion from it. So it was actually quite a blessing. And after the briefcase was snatched away, I was like, I want it to be forgotten about, and I'm not really going to talk about it. And I wanted to not be in She Won for the reason of having that. And I think there was a show before the She Won that I couldn't make because of a taping. So I was like, right, let's have a bit of a downward spiral, have me on a losing streak to the point where I can get pissed off and walk out. So the walk coincided with the taping that I wasn't going to be there for anyway. And also it meant that I was far from anyone's mind on the She Won weekend. And I was even posting fake videos onto my Instagram story of me being in my hometown that weekend. So I just wanted to be as far out of people's view as I possibly could. So on she won, it was, in the middle of Charlie Morgan and Kaylee Ray. And I got ready at home, got my gear on and put a tracksuit over the top of my gear, drove round the corner. I drove around the corner so that fans wouldn't see me. And then and I only arrived during the interval, I think. And once that second half had started, that's when I drove around near the Resistance Gallery. And I hid in the production truck that they had outside, because that's when they had a truck there, because they were streaming live. And the contract that was sellotaped to the chair, because obviously I didn't have a briefcase, my brother planted for me earlier on that day. So my brother went to watch it, and he actually planted the contract for me tucked behind the door on the entranceway. So I wanted it to be this big surprise, big shock moment, and I think it was. So yeah, that was something that I had in my mind for a long time. I planned and knew that's what I wanted, and I think the long way into it that I've done, every all the little tiny thoughts, little details, I think really helped to make for a really memorable moment. I mean, even in lockdown, when a lot of people were talking about their top 10 Eve moments as part from the YouTube streams, I think a lot of the answers that I saw said that, that Cashin was in their top 10 moments. So, I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about making memorable moments in wrestling. So I'm really proud that I managed to make that moment. I wish the title reign was longer. I don't know if I should say this. It was meant to be longer, but certain circumstances happened to the point where it ended when it did, which was not the initial plan. But I'm still, super proud of what I did in that time. There I am.
And the championship
I'm lying if I said I was completely satisfied with that reign and that I was happy to leave it there. I would definitely like to have another reign with the Pro Wrestling Championship. So that is my goal at Eve now. I'm currently undefeated for 2023 at Eve. Just
really cool. And I talked to you last time. I said I'm having so much fun doing this. And to be honest with you, though, I keep saying this might be the Farewell for Now tour.
No, don't say
it. I'm sure I'll still come over, but I won't be able to do the tours the way that I have been. Certainly not 5 weeks. I don't think it's a huge secret. I've been working for AEW as a producer behind the scenes, as a coach and producer there. And I have the opportunity to do more with them on a regular basis. So I think it looks like probably at the beginning of the year, I'll be going pretty hard with them if everything works out the way I hope it does.
Well, congratulations for that, Scott.
That's
great news.
It's
exciting.
It is exciting. It's very bittersweet at the same time, though, because I really do enjoy doing these tours. More than anything, So it's a tough decision, but exciting.
It's like stepping away from your UK tour in November and December, your UK and European tour. And I've seen some social posts, and I think it was Corey Graves' podcast that he does for WWE, and a certain Rhea Ripley was on there. And Rhea Ripley was one of your students, one of your, dare I say it, your kids in the WWE Performance Center, and also Raquel Rodriguez. Doing excellent things on the main roster now, Scott. Of course, Rhea Ripley, one of the WWE Women's Heavyweight Champion, a World Heavyweight Champion, doing some amazing things. Raquel Rodriguez has had a wonderful year or so on the main roster, but big fan of these two for sure. And you had a big part in their development. You must be pretty proud with kind of how they've grown and what they're doing currently on the main roster, Scott.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, just from even the last time I spoke or saw Rhea to where she's at right now, just the way she's grown and developed, and the character's like taking on a life of its own, and just, and that's what you hope for, right? Not only as a coach, but as talent, that's what you hope for. It's like, okay, how do I need to evolve into something that's never been done before? And sometimes it's hard to sit down and just kind of rack your brain and come up with something. And sometimes you just have to hope that it happens. And it's happened definitely for Rhea, and we see it starting to happen for Raquel, where she's starting to take off now. And I think that's something that a lot of people saw way back. They saw something special in both of those ladies, and just to see what they're out there doing now is so cool. Rhea, both of them, but I think they're both bigger than wrestling. I could definitely see Rhea, going on doing movies, and Raquel doing movies, and they're both so young, and they have such a cool and awesome opportunity to do so many things with their career. It's really, really awesome to see.
Absolutely. All right, so Damo, just a bit more over this way if you can. There we go. Oh, there we go. Nice and cozy. There we go. John is backstage here at the Electric Ballroom. Progress Chapter 150. So a momentous show today. Of course, we knew it was going to be a really important milestone show for Progress. But I think I spoke to you briefly coming up the stairs. Just the crowd today in the Electric Ballroom was amazing. But when you're backstage, guys, and you hear the crowd pop for what's going on out the front there, what's going through your mind? Damo.
So there are times, yes, there's going to be matches where they're going to react to certain moves and certain sequences, just like we would, like if we were watching anything else or any sport, you get into it. But when you're telling a story like the main event has told, like Axel and I went down the stairs so we could watch the video, because we were like, we need to know the whole story before we go out there. And like, oh my God, like the two of us just looked at each other and went, we were in WWE, right? And this was as good as any production in WWE. Like, that was outrageous. They told the story in 5 minutes on that screen. So if they were new fans here, they immediately knew what was going on. And like, that was very, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I say, the crowd was super hot. And for your matches as well, guys, I think it was probably one of the hottest. Well, of course. I'm here to big you up. I'm here to put you over.
Big Damo,
But you had a little bit of an appearance in the main event there. I think what's intriguing to me is you did a backstage promo earlier on in the night, and I said this when yourself and Bullet had a bit of a face-to-face at I think it was possibly unboxing at the back end of last year.
There can only be one.
There we go. So you got two big men in Progress Wrestling. I've interviewed Bullet recently. He says he's bigger than you and he's badder than you. What do you reckon when you get in there finally?
He's a liar. No, honestly, like, one of the cool things about wrestling is like the 3-ring circus. That is the most important thing. Like, Axel and I both have very similar beliefs in what we want wrestling to be as a whole, but at the same time, you have to be entertained at every aspect. There needs to be the clowns, there needs to be the strongmen, there needs to be the acrobats. And one of the things I love is now there's another big man here, there's another story that we can tell. Two big guys are going to smash the shit out of each other. Like, that's
fight.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what the industry needs as a whole is the variety. And I think that's one of the reasons why the likes of Progress, and there are other companies who are really trying to have that kind of variety, but like Progress are doing their very best to have the crazy story, have the really incredible young bastard wrestlers, 18-year-old bastards who are all really bastard and good, right? And then you've got the likes of us who can tell stories and everything else. So it's interesting, like the mix that they have, but that's the key, and that's how we're going to succeed, and that's how Progress is going to become the best company it can be, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And also mentioned the crazy in-ring stuff you see here at shows like Progress, which is unbelievable great. So when you see, like, for example, the opener today.
Well, I was going to ask you, because the opener was Callum Newman and Nick Wayne.
Insane.
I mean, how are you meant to follow that? But you went out second with Mike Bird.
That's what we should do. I'll come back in 5 years' time.
But you did have the challenge, didn't you, Axel? And you went out there with Mike Bird, and you did follow it, but you gave him a completely different story, a completely different type of wrestling match. And by the end of it, you had the fans as hooked as they were during that first match, and you went out there and did it your way.
Yeah, to circle back to my friend over there, the different variety on in-ring styles. So we cannot do what they do. They probably maybe can do what we do, but probably not. So that's different, like, two types of styles. So it would be insane for us. Let's try to top that with what they do, because we can't. We can't. Simple as that. So in that case, we looked at each other and said, all right, like, let's follow that. Why not? There's the competition. That's a legit competition in professional wrestling, not only in the ring, but also as who outperforms who. right? They had their moments in the match. We had our moments in the match. Sometimes, and whoa, awesome, holy shit, I don't know, or something, haha, and that's entertaining. So that's two different kinds of styles, and you just follow up with what you can do best. And in that case, we did it with technical wrestling, or we did it with like some characteristic stuff. You know, take a little bit like the piss with do some forward.
There was some funny games in there as well.
But then
one or two cartwheels.
Finding back to like our bread and butter, and that is strong style wrestling, technical mat wrestling, and a lot of fun with that.
You two guys have very similar styles. You guys have never worked before. You've met maybe briefly years ago, but like that's the first time touching, and you guys like went out there following again two bastarding young children who are fucking incredible, which annoys me. Break their legs. Let's break their legs. But because you know you're following them, you went out and did something completely unique to what the rest of the show was going to be as well. And then you listened to how the crowd were responding, and you both were almost in one mind, which I think is incredible. But you know, Mike Bird's experiences and your experiences are both different, and yet incredibly similar. It was awesome.
And I love that. The rematch.
Yeah,
I want the rematch.
Yes.
And I think that's something that you
round system match.
Well, suggest it to progress management. Suggest it to progress management, Lee, if you're watching. But like I say, you went out there and you read the crowd, and that obviously tells in the experience of yourself and Mike. But the other intriguing thing was after the match, it appears, gentlemen, that we've seen the reformation of Sanity, but in a progress ring. Now, I've got to be honest with you, I was a huge mark for you two in NXT, WWE. I still am, of course. I still am, of course. But honestly, that must be a bit of a thrill for you two, getting the chance to team up again in a different environment in front of different fans. And I've got to say, the Progress Tag Division is one of the hottest in the world. For you two gents to be a part of that must be pretty exciting. Axel, give us your thoughts, my friend. Firstly, you know, teaming with this gentleman all over again, but in a different environment. Progress this time.
Since the day we tagged the last time as Sanity in WWE, a lot of things changed, but something will never change, and that is our friendship. That's our like brotherhood we have built up over all those years, and it's still like day one. So, but now there's a threat to the tag team division here in Progress that not only like a well-oiled machine will enter this division and will challenge like everybody, there's also the thing that we have the chance to mix it up again.
Yeah.
Like that we tagged before in Progress. We had 2 matches, we won those matches.
Undefeated.
But now undefeated. But now we have the chance for like officially going into the ring and just, you know, present ourselves not as like, oh, those have tagged before, let's get it in tag match. No, let's make it a unit again. Let's make it a team again, and let's kick some asses as a team again.
Yeah, 100%. And
just to touch on that, like our goal would be, you know, with all these incredible tag teams here, like Sunshine Machine, 0121. Like the Smoking Aces, like they like us, Jim. They're cunts, but you know we kind of like them. You know, there's so many like incredible teams kicking around here, and also other ones around Britain and Ireland. Like there's so much kicking around right now, and we would love to be able to, you know, get right in amongst that, get those fucking titles, and make them world traveling tag team titles. You know what I mean? That's what we are, and that's what we want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And Super Strong Style around the corner, gentlemen. Obviously, we've got the Super Strong Style 16 tournament to look forward to. Maybe you guys will be a part of that, but we've also got WXW is going to be part of Super Strong Style weekend, so that's quite exciting, Axel. So a lot of faces that you're familiar with that will be coming over for that weekend in a couple of months' time. You must be excited for that and the partnership with WXW.
I'm super excited with that. WXW is my home promotion in Germany. Same as Progress is my home promotion in the UK. So I'm super excited that both like come together. That probably WXW comes over as the guest this time in the home of Progress Wrestling to Superstar of Supercard of Strong Style. Strong Style tournament. Yeah, it's like too many words. And
back of the net. It is too many words.
In that case, it will be a pretty exciting weekend for sure, and also like to showcase WXW a bit, because I know a lot of the lads here, a lot of the fans of professional wrestling, they come to, for example, a 16-carat tournament, which is in 2 weeks, by the way. Yeah. It's this time of recording. So, but then let's have some German fellows come over here. just to witness the beauty of progress wrestling.
Like we got to see Maggot come over recently, and Maggot fit in like a
man. He's awesome.
Took to progress like a duck to
he's
water.
A proper fan favorite in progress for sure.
Yeah,
but you know so many others right now.
That's the beauty of those two companies. Two companies, and I'm very proud to be a part of both. But not everybody has the chance to wrestle at WXW. Also not progress, because simply the locker room is full of amazing talents. So you do not want to replace those guys who put their work and effort and blood, sweat and tears in just to become a regular part of the roster. So, but now you can mix it up maybe. It's not saying like something like an Innovation Store and whatever, but it's like the thing that you see a different roster, you see a different card. There are probably some guys who are a regular progress guy on that card
bit of
for
fantasy
WXW,
booking here.
but also what's happening maybe for the Super Strong Star tournament, right? What's happening there? Are there some of the WXW guys in there?
Whoa.
Because
He's
they're already here,
He's giving
so
spoilers.
so no spoilers, but like just give you an idea and alteration, maybe just get you a little bit excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got to ask you then, Damo, just to wrap up this interview, you unfortunately lost your Atlas Gold tonight to RKJ.
Break his leg.
But
I should have broke his leg.
but like I say, I don't know if this is your first taste of RKJ today, but hell of an athlete. I think he's still in his early 20s, been around the scene for a while, part of the legendary Knight family. What's it like to be in there with a talent like RKJ, besides the fact you want to break his legs? But like I say, an incredible attitude to put on, and I like the dynamics between the two of you, of course, but an incredible talent.
No, he's unbelievable. Listen, I wrestled his dad, his uncle. I've been on shows with his auntie, his grandmother, his grandfather, literally all of them at different times in my career. So of course the next thing is to wrestle him, RKJ, and I wrestled him a couple of times now, and he gets better. Like, so we wrestled 2 years ago, and I thought, he's pretty good, and I was like, okay, that's, I can see why people, are getting behind him. Then I wrestled him a couple of weeks ago in Dublin, and we tore the roof off the place, and I was like, okay, this kid has just went from being good to being, holy shit, he's ready to do something special. And then you saw again tonight, that's the next level. He's able to get that he's able to reach that other limit, that maybe others can't just yet, and which is to be 23 years old. He's got the brain of a 35-year-old. We were talking about this backstage. Like, he does not talk to us like he's a young man. When I was 23, I was a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? So getting to talk to this fella and get to understand him, you're like very mature. He really knows what he wants from life, from wrestling, from everything else. And it shows in his work. It shows in his character. And he brings it. Listen, he's incredible what he does. And if anybody's going to... I said that somebody special would have to beat me. Somebody would have to be very special. And maybe RKJ is the most special.
Yeah, absolutely. But gentlemen, it's been a pleasure speaking to you for the last 10 minutes or so. Thank you very much. And we really look forward to seeing what Sanity can bring to the tag team ranks of Progress. And of course, with Super Strong Style, what you might be able to do individually in 2023. But Axel and Damo, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Woo!